And now it's time to jump into your weather headlines. Don't put that shovel away. We're not getting 2 Olympic stadiums worth of snow, but many people across the Golden Horseshoe and into Quebec are bracing for another round. It's freezing. Yeah, the polar vortex is back, and winter festivals. We're going to chat about some amazing winter festivals happening this weekend. And speaking of the weekend, thank you so much for joining me. I'm Rachel Schoutsen. January the 28th today, last weekend of the month. You're watching the Weather Network. Now, we do have some very cold air, that's for sure. In Winnipeg, the daytime high is -23. That's as warm as it's going to get in Winnipeg today. Vancouver, you're 7 degrees today, but a temperature drop is coming your way. Arctic outflow is going to be the story. Now, Arctic outflow, yeah, we're going to feel the cold air in places like Ontario and Quebec. But before we get there, we do have some snow to work through. We do have this band that's likely to form off of Georgian Bay today, just south of Prairies Sound. So if you're traveling up Highway 11 and 400, be cautious of that. And then here's the next system. This one starts to move in overnight tonight and in through Sunday morning. This is likely going to bring snow throughout the day on Sunday, and it is a warm front. So we do have this warmer section just to the south, and it does look like places like Niagara could see a little bit of rain with this. If this pushes a little further to the north, even places like Burlington, Oakville, Toronto might see a little bit of mixing. So that's the next snowy system to watch. It was a rough day on the waters. Peggy's Cove, Nova Scotia. Kelly George, thank you for capturing the scene and the sounds. If you dream really hard, you may think you're on vacation, right? But really, you're just in cold Mississauga. And we've got that forecast right now. Thanks so much for spending some time with us. You are watching the Weather Network. I'm Rachel Schoutsen. It is Saturday, January the 28th today. Here's a look at our conditions across Ontario. We're going to start in Ontario and we're going to get to Atlantic Canada snowstorm, and then we got Share Your Weather coming up too. We're -1 in Toronto today. We do have snow developing in the forecast. Snow develops through the overnight tonight, and then as we get into tomorrow is going to be a snowy day. We do have a very warm sector just to the south of us. So places like Niagara, for example, you may get into a little bit of rain with this early on Sunday morning, but places like Toronto, it looks like this is a solid 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. Same kind of story out towards Montreal. Montreal, this comes in a little bit later into Sunday morning, and then we do have another system coming for Monday. So there is no shortage of snow now falling across Ontario and Quebec. Winter certainly has shown up. The cold air is certainly a story across Atlantic Canada, and then you do have some more action. Today is a calm day, a cold but a calm day. We do have a couple flurries just associated with that warm front that is in New Brunswick, and then wait for it. Here it comes as we go into Sunday afternoon. This is the next system. So that's going to bring some snow into New Brunswick, rain following in through Nova Scotia, and then snow late Sunday into Monday for Newfoundland. So there will be a lot of snow to talk about this week. He was awesome. He said this event started in 2019. It was freezing cold. He thought no one would come, and the streets were filled. So it certainly is an event that everyone looks forward to in Dartmouth, and we have tons of wonderful winter festivals happening across the country. Have a look. Check out a winter festival that's happening in your backyard, because this weekend it really seems like it is the kickoff. There is so much fun to be had. And of course, so many of these events have the ice sculptures, and we want them to stay frozen because they put so much amazing work into them. In Edmonton, where Winterruption is happening this weekend, -16 certainly is going to be cold. Chinook Blast is happening in Calgary, -16. That's the daytime high. It's going to be cold. -23 in Winnipeg, -15 in Thunder Bay. This is the influence of the polar vortex, that cooler air coming down. And even today in Vancouver, 7 degrees. That's going to feel warm compared to your forecast into tomorrow and Monday as cooler air really starts to become the story. Now, the story for Ontario is snow, and it's multiple rounds of snow. So this is likely to bring about 5 to 10 centimeters of snow across the Golden Horseshoe. We could see a few heavier pockets over towards Godbridge, and then lesser amounts throughout the Niagara region. And that's because as this warm front pushes just a little bit further to the north, we're likely to see a little bit of rain in Niagara. Now, for Atlantic Canada, 3 systems in 3 days. You are going to see a system coming late Sunday, another one Monday, another one into Tuesday, and this will bring places like New Brunswick tons and tons of snow. So of course, great for the snowmobile trails. We'll see that as well across Newfoundland. It looks like into Monday morning we could see a bit of rain, and that would be along the south shore of the Avalon. Chills, that is coming up. The two big stories, though, definitely the storm track across Ontario, Quebec, and into Atlantic Canada. Multiple rounds of snow. Do not put the shovel away. And then, of course, many Canadians experiencing the cold air coming all the way from the poles. Even Arctic outflow for places like Vancouver. We'll show you that temperature drop. But before we get there, the blizzard of 77, that happened today in weather history. Well, the wind chill's not going to feel like minus 60, but we certainly have the Arctic outflow influencing your forecast in BC. Look at today. Today's comfortable. Surrey at 7 degrees, Vancouver 7, Burnaby at 6. You got sunshine. It's beautiful. And then the temperatures start to drop. So as we go into tomorrow, much cooler forecast for you. Only 2 degrees in Richmond, Vancouver, and Tsawwassen. Now, of course, cold, it's all about your perspective. For people in Vancouver, this will feel cold, but I want to show you the wind chill today across the prairies. Now, across southern Ontario, we do have snow on the way. It actually was warmer in the middle of the night going into Saturday morning than it will be into this afternoon. -1 in Toronto, -1 in Hamilton. It was about 2 degrees at about 4 a.m. So temperatures dropping as we go throughout the day today, and an incoming system. So this is going to bring snow overnight tonight and in through Sunday morning. Places like Niagara and London, you may see a touch of rain with this as that warm front just tries to push further to the north. Now, this system will track into Quebec, and then eventually we will see it into the Maritime. Certainly was a little heavy. It was super wet. It was packing snow, and it came down fast and furious, totally transforming the landscape. And I asked him, in your practice, have you seen this connection? Have you seen the connection between snowstorms and heart attacks? And here's what he had to say. And coming up this week on the Weather Network, we'll have a full report with Dr. Mangy, and he talks about our heart and how the cold is a trigger for things like our arteries constricting or blood potentially clotting. So your heart and the cold, there certainly are a lot of connections, and that story is coming up on the Weather Network this week. But for now, here's the doctor's advice. If you do have to shovel snow this weekend, we do have a lot of snow in the forecast. He wants you to start early, take lots of breaks, do a little at a time, and of course, if you can, ask for help. Now, who will be shoveling snow this week? Let's get into that forecast because we are seeing another round of it coming across Ontario and into Quebec. This system comes late through the night on Saturday and in through Sunday morning. And with this, we're generally seeing about 5 to 10 centimeters across the Golden Horseshoe. Lesser amounts down to Niagara because as that warm front pushes further to the north, we will get a touch of rain. Places like Bancroft, generally about 5 to 10. We could see some enhancement just south of Parry Sound because through the day today, we are likely to see just a little band of lake effect snow hit there. And you know, those small bands that really target a region, that's where the snow could pile up. Now, for Atlantic Canada, we do have 3 systems coming in 3 days, Sunday, Monday, and into Tuesday. For Nova Scotia, this will be a lot of rain coming your way. We'll see bits of snow with it, but you will be on the warmer side. New Brunswick, you have a round of snow today, light flurries, another heavier one in through Sunday, another one into Monday, and then Newfoundland, Monday, that's when the snow starts to move over your region. South Avalon, you may get into a touch of rain with this. And of course, another big story, well, that is the cold. You certainly aren't going to be shoveling snow in Vancouver, but Arctic outflow is going to become the story. 7 degrees for the daytime high in Vancouver today, and then only 2 as we go into tomorrow. And please dress warm today. If you're in Edmonton, -16, -27 in Churchill, and -15 in Thunder Bay. These snowstorms are not all fun and games and getting out on the snowmobile. There is a strong connection between our heart health and the winter season. And I had a chance to talk to a cardiologist, Dr. Mangy, this week. He's a cardiologist in Mississauga with Trillium Healthcare, and I asked him, do you see a difference in your waiting room, in your clinic, when the snow falls and patients in heart distress? And here's what he had to say. And we'll share more this week coming up on the Weather Network with our interview with Dr. Mangy. He talks about how our arteries actually constrict in the cold and how cold can be a trigger for blood clotting as well. They have to do it. You know, you can't always have someone that's available with the snowblower. So Dr. Mangy's advice, he said, start early, take a lot of breaks, and of course, ask for help if you can. But Melinda, so many Canadians were seeing snow this week, especially the big dumping that fell across Alberta yesterday.
Yeah, we got a bit of upsloping off the Rockies, so we could be looking, some areas looking at some lake effect snowfall moving in with that system as well.
Yeah, so if you did have a hard time shoveling all that snow with the last system that came through, this probably is a good time to ask for some help. And of course, this is on the way across Quebec and it's moving into Atlantic Canada as well. So can we talk a little bit about the shoveling situation for our East Coast friends?
It's going to be coming in rounds, which is the good news. So not too much accumulation. We'll be looking at light snowfall, so a bit more easier on the snow shoveling for you because the track is more of a northerly track in terms of the overall snowfall.
Now, in my interview with Dr. Mangy, he also talked about the cold being a big trigger for heart stress. Can you chat a little bit about this Arctic outflow for BC and the prairies?
Oh yes, temperatures are going to be quite frigid as we head into this weekend.
And when we don't have enough ice coverage, well, it creates a whole chain of problems. And we certainly have been seeing that across the lower Great Lakes as well. We need some real good, steady cold air. And guess what? That is coming into the forecast. We're going to talk snow first, and then we're going to get into the cold. It's great to see you. It's Saturday, January the 28th. I'm Rachel Schoutsen. We got 0 degrees in Toronto today, -4 in Orangeville. We're clear today, becoming a little bit cooler through the overnight. We actually saw our warmest temperatures way early this morning at around 2 and 3 a.m. Temperatures continue to fall through the day, and then snow. Snow is moving in. So here comes the warm front. As that warm front pushes in, we are looking at snow developing overnight tonight. It will snow through the day tomorrow, down towards Grimsby and through the Niagara region. A little warmer there. We will get a little bit of rain and mixing, but this looks like a solid 5 to 10 centimeters of snow for Toronto. We clear out slightly into Monday morning. High pressure, very brief, and then look, another system comes Monday. So do keep that in mind as you send the kids off to school. It's an active pattern for us, and we've got lots of snow on the way. This is how you enjoy winter. You dress warm, you put on the gloves, you wear a nice hat, and you get outside and you embrace it. Thanks for joining us on In the Know. I want you to get up to speed on all the amazing festivals. And first, we're going to start in Calgary. I had a chance to talk to Jennifer Thompson this week about Chinook Blast. Have a listen. But wow, bluebirds, skies, the mountains, it just looks amazing. Now, I also want to share an interview that I had with Tim Risesko. He is from downtown Dartmouth, and he said this festival, the ice sculptures, it started in 2019. He thought it was a really cold forecast this year, colder than normal for Dartmouth. He thought no one was going to show up. He said the streets were packed. People of Dartmouth, they look forward to this year after year, and that festival kicked off yesterday. Absolutely. That's what it's all about. We got to embrace winter. We got to enjoy it. And Nathan, he was at that festival. He said that he's going to have a profile piece on some of the sculptors there to see just how they do it and how they keep warm, too. That's what I'm interested to know. Now, speaking of keeping warm, if you are checking out a festival this weekend, it's going to be cold. In Edmonton, -16 for Calgary. These are the daytime highs, -20 in Regina. I know the Winterruption Festival happening in Regina. Tons of music, tons of fun, lots of people will be outdoors, so please dress accordingly. We're 0 in Toronto. If you want to go skating at Nathan Phillips Square, be beautiful today. Ottawa, of course, Ottawa has Winterlude. That starts in February. And Halifax, we are 4 degrees, so it should be beautiful in Dartmouth today. The sunshine, that sun is trying. It's trying so hard to come out. But you know what's trying even harder to come out? The cold. The frigid cold. The polar vortex is back, and we're certainly seeing it in some of the numbers. Yeah, our forecast this week, it looks downright cold. -10. The last time Toronto was -10, we have to look all the way back to April. It was an overnight low on April the 13th. So it's going to be a bit of a shocker for many people when this chunk of air starts to move in across the lower Great Lakes. Take a look at this, for example. We're going to do long range first, then we're going to talk snow, okay? This doesn't seem all that terrible and all that cold, but we have been so mild that this certainly is going to be a bit of a shock to the system. This afternoon, we're 0 in Toronto. We do have incoming snow, so building cloud cover. Through this evening, the wind chill feels like -7, still fairly comfortable, and then here it comes. The warm front pushes in. This is going to be some steady snow as we go through the overnight and in through Sunday morning. Places like Grimsby, Niagara region, a little bit of rain with this, and then the system continues to push through. A bit of a brief clearing into Monday morning. The next system comes into Monday. Toronto, we could be looking upwards of about 10 centimeters of snow. But we certainly saw more on this date the blizzard of 77. We'll go there now with this day in weather history. That sun is trying, it's trying so hard to come out. But you know what's trying even harder to come out? The cold. But if you could just enjoy it in that picture-perfect moment, oh, it looked so good. There is so much to celebrate when it comes to our winter. And hey, we're going to talk about winter celebrations on the morning show this morning, if you can stay with us. And now we go to an icy mess in Kentucky, where GPS routing actually made the situation even worse. Have a look. And now, a very active storm track in the east. Most regions of Canada have been getting snow, but to the south, Massachusetts has been dealing with rain, which has led to catastrophic flooding.